When Officer Martinez said, "We are putting the handcuffs on," he had no idea the woman in front of him had an office at the Pentagon. He didn't know this woman had served in 3 different wars. And he definitely didn't know that the phone call from his superiors 20 minutes later would turn into the biggest police scandal in Louisiana history. Mosswood, Louisiana was the kind of town you could barely spot on a map. Population 3,200, a few shops on Main Street, 1 gas station, and one of those classic southern towns where everyone knew everyone. This was a place resistant to change, where traditions and prejudices had taken deep root. And on that hot afternoon of July 15, 2023, this town's life would change forever. General Naomi Ellsworth was driving back from visiting her daughter in Texas when she noticed her fuel tank was nearly empty. Her GPS had directed her off Interstate 20 onto Mosswood's Main Street. At 63, Naomi had been trying to adjust to retirement life for the past 6 months. After a 30-year military career, civilian life felt strange to her. No morning alarms to set, no reports, no briefings. Just silence and peace. When she parked her blue Honda Civic at the Shell gas station, she breathed in the town's typical afternoon atmosphere. A few pickup trucks, an elderly man walking his dog, country music playing from a radio in the distance. A normal day, a normal stop. Nothing could have prepared her for the storm that awaited. As Naomi approached the pump, she noticed the police car parked across the street. 2 officers sat inside, one young and ambitious looking, the other middle-aged and experienced. Officer Jake Martinez, 28, had been working at the Mosswood Police Department for 3 years. His partner, Officer Tom Davis, was 45 with 12 years of experience. Both were on routine patrol, monitoring the gas station. "Look at that woman," said Martinez, pointing at Naomi. "Have you seen that car before?" Davis frowned. "No, not a local. License plates from Texas too." Martinez watched Naomi as she walked around the car. "She's acting strange. Keeps looking around." Actually, Naomi was just trying to figure out the pump system she wasn't used to. From her office at the Pentagon to Humvees, she'd traveled in all kinds of vehicles, but self-service gas pumps were still somewhat foreign to her. In military life, she usually used official vehicles, and fuel supply was handled by others. "Looks like she's hiding something," Martinez insisted. "Maybe she's transporting drugs." Davis looked skeptical. "Jake, this woman's over 60. Does she look like a drug dealer?" "Age doesn't matter, Tom. Haven't you ever seen elderly dealers? Plus, this is the only car we don't recognize in town." Naomi finally managed to get the pump working and began filling her tank. She looked around peacefully, listening to the town's quietness. In her mind were her grandchildren at her daughter's house in Texas. Little Emma's questions when she saw the military uniform, little Marcus's curiosity as he counted her medals. Retirement had given her family time. Martinez was getting impatient. "I'm going to check it out." "Jake, wait. The woman's just getting gas." But Martinez was already out of the car. Davis sighed and followed him. He knew his young partner sometimes acted hastily, but he still had to provide backup. Naomi heard footsteps behind her as she pulled out her card. When she turned around, 2 police officers were approaching, one tense, the other hesitant. "Afternoon," said Martinez, moving his hand to the radio on his belt. "May I see some ID?" Naomi was surprised but remained calm. In 30 years of military career, she'd faced all kinds of tension. "Of course, officer. Is there a problem?" "Routine check," said Martinez, but his voice didn't sound routine at all. "Is this your vehicle?" "Yes." Naomi pulled her license from her purse. "I'm just passing through here." Martinez took the license and examined it. "Naomi Ellsworth, Texas. What brings you here?" "Visiting my daughter and heading back. Stopped because I ran out of gas." Davis felt the situation was escalating unnecessarily. "Jake, I think." "Tom, you check around the car," Martinez interrupted. He turned to Naomi. Do you have any weapons, drugs, or illegal materials in the vehicle?" Naomi's brow furrowed. "No, officer." "Why would you ask such a question?" "You're displaying suspicious behavior." "Suspicious behavior while getting gas?" Martinez's voice hardened. "Answering my questions is sufficient. May we search the vehicle?" Naomi took a deep breath. She knew she was being treated unfairly, but she'd faced such situations before. Rising as a woman in the military, especially as a black woman, fighting prejudice was part of her daily life. "Officer, I know my constitutional rights. Can you explain why you want to search my car?" This response made Martinez even more angry. "Your lack of cooperation makes you look more suspicious." Davis returned. "Jake, There's nothing in the car. Maybe, step away from her, Martinez said harshly. He turned to Naomi. Hands where I can see them. Naomi looked bewildered. What are you doing? Placing you under arrest. Resisting a police officer. What resistance? Turn around. Naomi's heart raced but her voice remained calm. Officer, you're making a big mistake. The big mistake is yours. Turn around, now. Davis felt uncomfortable. Jake, maybe we should first. Tom, get the handcuffs. Naomi turned around, her hands trembling but determination in her voice. Call the Pentagon. Martinez laughed. What? Call the Pentagon. Request the file for General Naomi Ellsworth. Yeah, sure, Martinez replied sarcastically. You're the commander-in-chief too, right? Davis hesitated as he brought the handcuffs. Jake, what if she really? Tom, you're putting those handcuffs on. As Naomi's wrists were cuffed, people from various parts of town began watching the situation. Harold, the gas station owner, looked from behind the glass. A few customers from the market across the street came out. Everyone was curious, no one dared to intervene. We are putting the handcuffs on, said Martinez, as if he'd won some great victory. At that moment, Naomi's 30 years of service flashed through her mind. Her first deployment in Iraq, operations in Afghanistan, final meetings at the Pentagon. All that sacrifice, all that service, now seemed to end with handcuffs in a small Louisiana town, but Naomi knew something Martinez didn't. Even though she was retired, she still had friends at the Pentagon. And most importantly, military identity never completely disappeared. These handcuffs were just the beginning. Mosswood Police Station was located in an old brick building in the center of town. 2 holding cells, 3 officers, and 3 desks in the main area. Chief Robert Wayne, 55, had been serving as police chief in this town for 20 years. That afternoon, while drowning in paperwork, he saw Martinez and Davis enter with Naomi. What's going on here? Asked Chief Wayne. Looking up. Suspicious woman. Chief, said Martinez excitedly. She was acting strange at the gas station. Wouldn't answer our questions. Wouldn't cooperate. Wayne looked at Naomi. The woman was standing calmly, showing no signs of aggression. What's the charge? Resisting a police officer. Suspicious behavior. Wayne frowned. Suspicious behavior isn't a charge, Martinez. And I don't see any resistance. Naomi spoke. Chief, I'd like you to call the Pentagon. Pentagon? Wayne looked surprised. Martinez interrupted. Chief, the woman's having delusions. She claims to be a general. General Naomi Ellsworth, 30 years of service, said Naomi calmly. I retired 6 months ago. I have a file at the Pentagon. Wayne took a deep breath. In his 20-year career, he'd encountered various strange situations, but this was different. Davis, what do you think? Davis looked uncomfortable. Chief, the woman wasn't aggressive at all. She was just getting gas. Tom, Martinez protested. She was acting suspicious. Jake, she was trying to use the gas pump. That's not a crime. Wayne got up from his desk and approached Naomi. Are you really claiming you worked at the Pentagon? Chief, I'm not claiming. I'm stating. General Naomi Ellsworth, U.S. Army, retired. All the information you need is at the Pentagon. Wayne was confused. Either the woman was truly delusional, or there was a possibility he didn't want to think about. What number do you want us to call? Naomi gave a phone number. Ask for Colonel James Hartford. He knows me. Martinez still didn't believe it. Chief, this woman is playing games. No one from the Pentagon. Martinez, shut up, Wayne said harshly. He picked up the phone and dialed the number. The call was put on hold, then a secretary answered. Pentagon, Army Personnel Office. Hello, this is Mosswood Police Department, Louisiana. May I speak with Colonel James Hartford? Can you explain the matter? Wayne hesitated. We have a situation regarding General Naomi Ellsworth. There was a brief silence on the phone. Hold on a moment. As Wayne waited, everyone in the room watched him silently. Martinez still looked confident, Davis was getting nervous, and Naomi waited patiently. Police Chief Wayne? A strong voice came through the phone. Yes, speaking. This is Colonel James Hartford. What's General Ellsworth's situation? Is she harmed? Wayne's stomach turned. No sir, she's not harmed. But she's handcuffed. There was harsh silence on the phone. Did you say handcuffed? Yes sir. My officers arrested her on suspicion of suspicious behavior. Jesus Christ, said Hartford. Chief Wayne, you arrested General Naomi Ellsworth, one of the most decorated generals in the United States Army. Everyone in the room could hear Hartford's voice. Martinez's face went pale. "Sir, we didn't know, Chief Wayne, listen carefully now. General Ellsworth served this country for 30 years. She served in Iraq, Afghanistan, Bosnia. She's a Purple Heart, Bronze Star, Legion of Merit recipient. She retired 6 months ago with full honors." Wayne's hands were shaking. "Sir, we are very sorry, we didn't know, you didn't know." Hartford's voice shook the room. "You arrested a U.S. Army general without questioning, without ID verification." Martinez was trying to retreat to a corner at this point. Davis had buried his head in his hands. "Sir, we are removing the handcuffs immediately, of course you will. And Chief Wayne, a report of this incident will reach the Pentagon within 2 hours, complete with details of how General Ellsworth was treated." Wayne was panicking. "Sir, this was a misunderstanding, not a misunderstanding, Chief. This is prejudice and incompetence. Put General Ellsworth on the phone." Wayne handed the phone to Naomi. Her hands were still handcuffed. "James," said Naomi into the phone. "Naomi, are you okay? Were you harmed?" "I'm physically fine. But this is unacceptable, James." "I know. The Pentagon is taking action. I've informed Senator Williams. The FBI Civil Rights Division will be notified too." Wayne's panic was no longer concealable when he heard these words. FBI? Senator? This was too big a scandal for this small town. "James, they're removing the handcuffs now. But I want this incident investigated. It's already started. There will be media attention too. CNN, Fox, everyone will hear about it." Wayne took the phone. "Sir, please, how can we resolve this situation?" "Chief Wayne, it's too late now. This incident will become public record. The media is already informed. The only thing you can do is apologize to General Ellsworth and prepare your officers." When the phone hung up, there was funeral silence in the room. Martinez's hands were shaking as he removed the handcuffs. Davis was leaning against the wall, thinking about the end of his career. Naomi rubbed her wrists. "Chief Wayne, a full report of this incident will be prepared. And it will go to state-level review." Wayne nodded. "I'm very sorry. This was a terrible mistake." "Not a mistake, Chief. This is a systematic problem. And now everyone will learn about it." At that moment, the sound of cars stopping outside could be heard. Davis, looking out the windows, said, "Chief, the media's here." Mosswood's quiet afternoon had turned into the biggest police scandal in Louisiana history. And this was just the beginning. The crowd gathering in front of Mosswood Police Station was growing by the minute. CNN's local bureau was first to arrive, followed by Fox News, ABC, and local TV channels. On social media, the hashtag #JusticeForGeneral hashtag was starting to trend. A Twitter user had shared the situation with the headline, "Racist Cops Arrest Black Female General," and the video had received 2 million views in 45 minutes. When Chief Wayne looked out the windows, his stomach turned. 20 cameramen, 10 reporters, and an increasingly growing crowd of protesters. It looked like a third of the town's population had gathered in the yard. "Chief," said young Secretary Jenny, running breathlessly into the station. "The Louisiana governor's office called. Governor Williams wants to speak with you." Wayne's hand trembled as he reached for the phone. "Governor Williams, sir." "Chief Wayne, what the hell is going on down there?" The governor's voice was full of anger. "Sir, this was an unfortunate misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" Governor Williams's voice rose. "I'm getting calls from the Pentagon, from Washington, from CNN. They're telling me a U.S. Army general was handcuffed in Louisiana. Sir, the situation is under our control." "Control?" Williams laughed, but it wasn't a genuine laugh. "Chief Wayne, the FBI Civil Rights Division is coming to Louisiana. A Justice Department investigation is starting. Nothing is under control." Wayne's voice cracked. "Sir, how can we fix this?" "Chief, it's too late now. You need to give a statement to the media. And you need to put those 2 officers on administrative leave. Sir, Martinez and Davis, now, Chief Wayne. And you will give a public apology." When the phone hung up, Wayne put his head on the desk. His 20-year career had collapsed in a few hours. Meanwhile, Naomi faced the army of media waiting for her outside the station. CNN reporter Sarah Mitchell was first to extend a microphone. "General Ellsworth, can you tell us about what you experienced today?" Naomi paused thoughtfully for a moment. She had media experience, had given press conferences in Pentagon briefings. But this was different. This was personal. "This afternoon, "I made a routine stop at the Mosswood gas station," she said in a calm voice. "I was just getting gas." 2 police officers approached asking for ID, then requested a vehicle search, then arrested me without showing any justification. "Why do you think you were targeted?" asked the Fox News reporter. "Let's speak openly," said Naomi, looking directly at the camera. "I'm a 63-year-old black woman. Stopping in a small Louisiana town with Texas plates looks suspicious to some people." Applause rose from the crowd. "General, what response did you get from the Pentagon?" asked the ABC reporter. The Pentagon launched a full investigation. The FBI Civil Rights Division is involved in the process. This incident isn't an isolated incident, it's an indicator of a systematic problem. At this point, Chief Wayne came out of the station door. Reporters immediately turned to him. "Chief Wayne, why was General Ellsworth intervened with?" Wayne was sweating. This was an unfortunate misunderstanding. "As a department, we will conduct a full investigation," Chief Wayne interrupted CNN's Sarah Mitchell. "General Ellsworth served this country for 30 years. She's a Purple Heart recipient. Why did you treat her like a criminal?" "Our officers followed routine procedure." "Routine procedure?" Naomi interrupted. "Chief Wayne, I violated no law. I showed no resistance. I just looked black and different." The crowd shouted in support of Naomi. "Justice for General. Racism has no place." Voices rose. Wayne tried to escape inside, but reporters followed him. Meanwhile, at the other end of town, Martinez was watching TV at home. His wife Susan sat next to him, constantly asking, "Jake, what did you do?" On TV was CNN's breaking news banner, "U.S. Army General arrested in Louisiana gas station." Martinez's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Friends, family, old school friends. His photo was starting to be shared on social media. With the headline, "Racist Cop Arrests General." Davis was experiencing a similar nightmare at home. His son had called from college, saying, "Dad, I saw your video on the internet." It was like a knife to Davis's heart. The situation got worse on the evening news. On CNN's Anderson Cooper program, a Pentagon spokesperson gave an interview. "General Ellsworth is one of America's most decorated military leaders," said the spokesperson. "This treatment is unacceptable and un-American." On Fox News, Tucker Carlson tried to criticize the situation as federal overreach, but viewer reaction forced him to stop. On MSNBC, Rachel Maddow did a special program about systemic racism. The biggest blow came from social media. The hashtag #JusticeForGeneral hashtag was trending nationwide. Celebrities posted support messages. Oprah Winfrey tweeted, "This is why we still fight." At midnight, Wayne took a call and spoke with FBI Special Agent Sarah Rodriguez. "Chief Wayne, a federal civil rights investigation is starting. My agent team is coming to Mosswood tomorrow." "Agent Rodriguez, we will provide cooperation." "Chief, this is a high-profile case. Media attention, political pressure. Any evidence tampering, witness intimidation will not be tolerated." When Wayne hung up the phone, he realized his career was completely over. The next morning, FBI cars were parked on Mosswood's Main Street. For the first time in the town's history, a federal investigation had begun. General Naomi Ellsworth had returned to Washington, having meetings with old colleagues at the Pentagon. But this was just the beginning. The real justice battle was starting now. 3 weeks later, Mosswood was no longer the same town. As the FBI investigation continued, media attention had invaded the town. The local economy was both benefiting from and being harmed by this. A tourist influx had begun, but town residents couldn't live their normal lives. FBI Special Agent Sarah Rodriguez was conducting a comprehensive investigation with her team. Police department records, dash cam footage, witness statements, Officer Martinez and Davis's past arrest records, everything was under a magnifying glass. "Agent Rodriguez," said FBI analyst Michael Chen, "look at Martinez's arrest statistics for the past 3 years. There's a disproportionate pattern against African American suspects." Rodriguez examined the data. Of Martinez's 47 arrests, 34 were African American, despite African Americans making up only 18% of the town's population. What about Davis's records? Davis is more complicated. Shows a follow-along pattern. No direct racist behavior evidence, but there's systemic complicity. Meanwhile, General Naomi Ellsworth was fighting a different battle in Washington, D.C. She was having strategic meetings with Colonel James Hartford at the Pentagon. "Naomi, this case has broader implications," said Hartford. "There are Civil Rights Act violations, possibility of federal prosecution." James, I don't want personal revenge. I want institutional change. DOJ wants to make this a precedent case. It could be a landmark case for police accountability. Naomi was looking out the window at the Potomac River. How many African American military personnel experienced similar experiences and never spoke up? Too many. Naomi. But your case is different. You're a general. There's media attention. There's public support. That same day, Louisiana Attorney General Mary Thompson held a press conference. We are providing full cooperation to the federal investigation, said Thompson. But we are also taking action at the state level. Louisiana State Police will review the Mosswood Police Department. However, real change was happening at the grassroots level. Mosswood's African American community was raising its voice for the first time in decades. Reverend Marcus Washington, pastor of the local Baptist church, organized a community meeting. Brothers and sisters, he said to the 200 people gathered in the church, what General Ellsworth experienced is what we've all experienced. The difference is, this time the whole country is watching. At the meeting, young activist Jessica Williams spoke. We demand police reform, implicit bias training, community oversight board. Elderly resident Mrs. Dorothy Johnson stood up. I'm 70 years old. I've seen racism in Mosswood, stayed silent. Not anymore. A month later, the FBI investigation was complete. Agent Rodriguez announced the findings. Federal civil rights violations occurred. Officer Martinez will face federal charges. Officer Davis will be placed under federal supervision. A trial began for Martinez in federal court. U.S. Attorney Jennifer Walsh personally handled the case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, said Walsh in her opening statement. This case is simple. A decorated U.S. Army general was subjected to racial profiling while getting gas. Her constitutional rights were violated. Defense attorney Mark Stevens tried a different angle. My client Officer Martinez was doing routine police work. Race was not a factor. But the evidence was overwhelming. Dashcam footage clearly showed Martinez's discriminatory comments. These people always cause trouble, he had said to Davis in the vehicle. During the trial, character witnesses testified for General Ellsworth. Pentagon colleagues, fellow generals, enlisted soldiers. They all gave the same message. Naomi Ellsworth was the embodiment of integrity and service. The most dramatic moment came when Iraq War veteran Sergeant First Class Antonio Rodriguez took the witness stand. General Ellsworth saved my life, he said with tears. In 2008, after an IED attack in Baghdad, she personally carried me to the helicopter. Now the same woman is being treated like a criminal in Louisiana. Jury deliberation lasted 2 days. Verdict: Martinez guilty on federal civil rights violations. Sentence: 18 months federal prison, $50,000 fine, permanent law enforcement ban. Davis took a plea deal. 6 months house arrest, mandatory bias training, community service. Chief Wayne was forced into early retirement. The department underwent complete restructuring, but the biggest change happened in the Mosswood community. The city council elected its first African American member, Jessica Williams, the young activist who spoke at the meeting. The police department implemented mandatory implicit bias training. A community oversight board was established. Use of force policies were completely rewritten. 6 months later, General Naomi Ellsworth returned to Mosswood. But this time for a different purpose. She held a press conference at the same gas station. Beside her were Governor Williams, FBI agent Rodriguez, and community leaders. 6 months ago, injustice happened at this station, said Naomi. But today, I see hope. I see change. Governor Williams presented Naomi with Louisiana's highest civilian honor, the Pelican Award. General Ellsworth showed courage. She fought not just for her own rights, but for the rights of all citizens. New Police Chief Maria Santos, a Hispanic woman and 20-year law enforcement veteran, announced new policies. The Mosswood Police Department is beginning a new era. Community trust, equal treatment, constitutional rights are our priority. After the ceremony, Naomi visited the local high school. She spoke with students. Young people, she said to the 300 teenagers gathered in the gymnasium. Speaking up against injustice requires courage. But silence is complicity. Student Council President, African American Senior Marcus Thompson, asked a question. General, did you ever want to give up? Naomi smiled. Marcus, in 30 years of military service I learned, those who do the right thing always win, eventually. That evening, Reverend Washington organized a special service at the church. Community members, media representatives, even some former skeptics attended. Lord, said the Reverend in prayer, you sent General Ellsworth as a blessing. Through her pain, community healing came. After the service, Naomi quietly went to the gas station. Same pump, same spot. But this time, station owner Harold personally came over. General, said Harold, an elderly white man, I want to apologize. I didn't do anything that day. It was wrong. Harold, said Naomi, courage coming late is better than never. While getting gas, a young African-American boy approached. Are you the famous general? Yes, I'm General Ellsworth. I want to be a soldier too. Naomi touched the child's shoulder. Work hard, dream big. The country needs leaders like you. As the car left Mosswood, Naomi looked at the town in her rearview mirror. Change would take time, but the seeds had been planted. When the phone rang, it was Colonel Hartford. Naomi, did you see the news? The Martinez case became a precedent. DOJ is launching a national police reform initiative. Justice is sometimes slow, James. But inevitable. Proud of you, General. Proud of us all. As she got on the highway, Naomi heard her own story on the radio. A CNN report was featuring Mosswood's transformation. What began as a racial profiling incident transformed an entire community. General Ellsworth's courage created lasting change. Naomi turned down the volume and put on classical music. Mission accomplished. Justice served. Community healed, but most importantly, she had created a better world for future generations. 20 miles later, her GPS announced the next destination. Welcome to Texas. She was returning home, to her family, to normal life. But now she knew, retirement didn't mean being passive. Service could take different forms, and the small Louisiana town of Mosswood had now become a landmark for justice and equality in America. General Naomi Ellsworth's legacy would live on, for generations to come.